Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we're in Phillips County and talk with rancher Myndi Krafft and her advocating for agriculture. In ag news, it was announced this week another round of trade mitigation payments will be coming to farmers next month. A new report out says that while online grocery shopping is growing in popularity, most folks still just like going to the store. And one company says a large chunk of farmland will be changing hands over the next 2 decades. We also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Department of Agriculture, and weekly updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors. The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leading in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online, kswheat.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future of Kansas corn. Online, kscorn.com. Well, USDA is readying round 2 of trade mitigation payments for farmers. The payments are the second half of the $12 billion program by the Trump administration to compensate farmers for losses stemming from the current trade agenda. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue said he doesn't expect those payments to be any later than December. The Ag Department previously used about $6.3 billion to facilitate the program. That also includes commodity purchases and trade promotion. The second round of payments offers the same per bushel or per head amount to farmers in the first round. Corn growers will receive a penny a bushel. Soybean growers receive $1.65 a bushel for 50% of production, if you remember. Hog producers, 8 cents a head. Dairy farmers will receive 12 cents per hundredweight. Now, wheat producers will get 14 cents a bushel, sorghum growers 86 cents a bushel, and cotton producers 6 cents a pound. Well, Farmers National Company says that 70% of farmland will transfer ownership in the next 20 years. Those transfers will occur by sale, will, trust beneficiary, or gifts, according to the company. Now, for farm and ranch operations, we know land by far is the biggest asset to transfer of wealth. Over the next 5 years, some 10%, or 911 million acres of ag land in the U.S. will change hands. That equates to about 2% per year. The other 1% will be sold in the open market, which equates to about 4.25 million acres a year on average available for purchase. The company says that some of the sales will be from farmers and ranchers retiring. The rest will probably be inheritors deciding to sell the land asset. Finally, the company says the next generation of landowners will typically be more removed from the farm and ranch, and they will be seeking information and guidance from various sources as they make their decisions. New online grocery shopping on the rise, but a new study out shows grocery shoppers still prefer to just go to the store to make their purchases. Online grocery shopping remains a small niche in the total of the billions of dollar industry, generating less than 5% of sales. And even though sales did grow by 4% last year, the number of online beverage purchasers, those make 6 or more purchases a year, is still just 17%. Tabs Analytics was the one that did the survey, and they released their findings and found that grocery sales overall increased the last 2 years as median income rose and the unemployment rate did decline. You can find more on these and other stories at agview.net. Well, when we come back, we'll have one rancher's experience advocating about farming and ranching. Stay with us. Well, recently you had the opportunity to maybe talk to something. Not every farmer and rancher gets an opportunity, but to talk about some of the virtues of agriculture and beef to a bunch of dietitians. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, well, the Kansas Beef Council every year hosts a beef education and media training workshop for dietetic interns from Kansas University and Kansas State University. So I was fortunate enough to be able to go speak with them on behalf of the beef industry and just educate them on the beef life cycle and, you know, what we do here as producers on a farm and ranch with our animals.
Talk about the exchange back and forth. Did they have a lot of questions? Were you surprised maybe by some of the questions they had?
Sure. No, I wouldn't say it was a surprise. You know, I didn't know what to expect being the first time that that I was asked to give this presentation, but they were very interested in what we do as farmers and ranchers in the beef production industry, and you know, they had a very genuine interest in wanting to know. I feel like you know, they really asked great questions. They truly want to understand how our animals are cared for, that they're cared for properly, and the environmental impact and sustainability that practices that we're working towards.
Sustainability is a big word. If you were to define sustainability, what is that in your mind?
Sustainability would, you know, just making sure that we are leaving the land, you know, for the next generations to come. That we are utilizing the land the best of our capabilities with environmental impact and animal impact, and just making sure that we're able to pass that along. Our goal is to pass that along to our next generation of farmers and ranchers.
You're in western Kansas. Tell us the story of your operation.
Our operation is a cow-calf operation, so we breed our animals. We have 2 breeding seasons, fall and a spring herd. And so, you know, we have our calving seasons where we are monitoring the cows and checking on them as they are calving, and caring for those little animals as they are on pasture and as they grow throughout their growing season. And then when it's time for weaning, we're monitoring them closely in their health as they transition from mama's milk to, you know, a custom ration for their nutritional needs.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web, oldeseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. And Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. More at ksgrainsorghum.org. We go back to Phillips County, and Myndi Krafft joins us. Myndi, let's talk now about why it's important to be an advocate for agriculture. You know, there's so many different stories, and there's so many now buzzwords of who do you believe and things like fake news. So maybe take some step back and talk about your story, because you're not a native Kansan, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, but kind of the experiences you have brought to become a strong advocate here in Kansas.
Sure. So I am a California native. I'm born and raised Southern California girl, and you know, I grew up listening to stories about my great-grandfather on their farm in Oklahoma, and I just always had an appreciation for agriculture and where our food came from. When I decided to go off to college, I decided to study agriculture and agriculture science, and really realized that disconnect that was out there between producers and consumers. So I eventually got my teaching credential, and I went on to teach agriculture in the Bay Area, in a very urban area with a population of nearly 1 million. These kids, just such a disconnect in agriculture, and I could see a huge need for them to understand. And you know, while I was teaching, realized within the community, even the older generations, a consumer disconnect. So I've always been a proponent of agriculture, an advocate for agriculture, and when my husband and I decided to you know, bring our family back and raise our little girls out here, put their roots down in the farming industry, you know, I knew that I wanted to continue my passion in advocating for production agriculture and the beef industry. So I'm hopefully have done my best to continue to do that.
Well, we're getting an opportunity to go in front of folks like dietitians, but probably you also have that opportunity every time you go to the local grocery store.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I find it fun to sit in front of the meat counter and discuss with, you know, a common beef consumer about cuts of meats and beef practices and things like that.
So you have the opportunity now, talk directly to those farmers and ranchers. You can look right there in the camera and say why it's so important that they help tell their story. Maybe it's not polished. Maybe it's simply a matter of being available or just sharing your passion.
Sure. You know, research shows that consumers do trust the producers, and right now that millennial generation is 3 generations removed from the family farm. If we are not telling our stories, who will? They're searching for the information because they want to know, but they're going to find it elsewhere with somebody else who's not telling the true facts that goes on within our industry. So they're seeking the info, but they're not getting the right facts.
How much time do you spend advocating? I mean, you have a lot of other things to do, so is it something that just takes a lot of time, or just as it's available?
Not at all. You know, as it's available, and I'm very active in the social media world as well, so I have a platform for, you know, just telling our story as farmers and ranchers out here in western Kansas, and, you know, what goes on in our operations, and, you know, people inquire here and there, and just being honest and factual, giving them that information so that they're understanding the process from the actual producer.
If folks want to follow you, what are those means, and how can they do that?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Pretty in Pasture.
So spell that for us.
Pretty in Pasture, PrettyInPasture.
Okay, so any other words of wisdom, anything as we getting into the fall season? Utilize your phone, take pictures, do some video. What has been the most effective thing for you?
The most effective thing for me is showcasing our operation as a family operation, of which it is, and really just connecting with those consumers who also have other young children that they're feeding in their homes, and that our product is a safe protein option to feed their own families.
We'll have more features on the weeks ahead and other advocating about the food, fuel, and fiber. Stay with us. More coming up on the Kansas Ag Report. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. And Agview.net, covering news and views in the Beef Belt and Western Corn Belt. Reliable and relevant, Agview.net.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel, made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm & Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm & Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
Science majors interested in learning about all aspects of the biodiesel industry can apply for a travel scholarship to attend the 2019 National Biodiesel Conference and Expo, January 21 through 24 in San Diego, California. The application process is open until November 19 to members of the Next Generation Scientists for Biodiesel. The scholarship includes a complimentary conference registration, a $600 travel scholarship, an educational pre-conference overview, and a private mentoring mixer with prominent biodiesel scientists. To apply, you must be a college or university student in a scientific field of study and have joined NGSB. That process is simple and free. Students also can apply to present biodiesel-related research or outreach during the conference's poster session. NGSB is a national biodiesel board program that fosters professional relationships between budding and established scientists, shares accurate information, and increases collaboration with academia and the biodiesel industry. NBB, the United Soybean Board, and the National Biodiesel Foundation sponsor the scholarships. To learn more, view last year's highlights, and apply by the November 19 deadline, visit biodiesel.org/NGSB on the web. What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel, made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Fall means the holidays are just around the corner, and if you're making your list, you can celebrate the state we love by giving the gift of Kansas with great products made by the From the Land of Kansas members. From the Land of Kansas is the state trademark program promoting and celebrating agricultural experiences and products grown, raised, or produced in Kansas. Kansas-made food and other products not only make great gifts, but they also support Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo when shopping at gift shops, boutiques, and grocery stores. When you shop Kansas, you support local Kansas companies. This holiday season, giving the gift of Kansas has never been easier. The program offers gift boxes that can be ordered online, include a personalized message, and be shipped directly to your family and friends. 2 gift boxes are available this year, offering a large variety of products from across the state, from sunflower oil, mustard, and sauerkraut, to honey, chocolate, and cookies. Order by December 10th to ensure delivery by Christmas. Remember shop.fromthelandofkansas.com for gift boxes this holiday season. You can also connect with From the Land of Kansas on Facebook or Instagram and read our blog, or follow us on Pinterest to find recipes throughout the holidays featuring many of our great From the Land of Kansas members' products. For other ideas or to find retailers or Kansas businesses near you, visit fromthelandofkansas.com. If you don't live near those retailers, you can also shop online at the From the Land of Kansas Marketplace at shop.fromthelandofkansas.com. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo and make Kansas part of your holidays this year, from the gifts you give to the meals you prepare.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel, made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
The newest addition to the Beef It's What's for Dinner brand family, Chuck Nose Beef, will be on display November 29th at the Kansas Livestock Association Convention in Wichita. Susan Solorio, Senior Executive Director of Brand Marketing for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, a contractor to the Beef Checkoff, will demonstrate Chuck Nose Beef during the Consumer Trends Forum sponsored by the Kansas Soybean Commission. Powered by Google Artificial Intelligence, Chuck is the consumer's guide to all things beef, including thousands of checkoff recipes, cooking tips, cut information, and more. Consumers can ask, "What can I make with flank steak?" or "How do ranchers take care of the environment?" or "How do you check the internal cooking temperature of a chuck roast?" Chuck will answer these and other consumer questions with customized responses based on content from beefitswhatsfordinner.com. As questions are asked, Chuck is updated and improved to provide the best answers and user experience. It is accessible through both mobile devices and desktop. Consumers can simply click on the banner on beefitswhatsfordinner.com homepage or go directly to chucknosebeef.com and either speak or type their questions. The launch for Chuck Nose Beef was October 3rd.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. All three grain markets now have carry in them: corn, soybeans, and wheat. Now for corn and wheat, we've been accustomed to that for the last several years, especially in the wheat market with the extreme amount of carry that's been brought up in the last two. Soybeans have not been that way until this year. And as a marketer of your grain, you need to take that into account when it comes time to look forward into next year, 2019. A big reason for that being that there is going to be a lot of stored soybeans, and a lot of them unpriced this year in a lot of farmers' hands. Now that's not the end of the world to say that they have to be sold right now. But as a producer, if you are holding on to a lot of unpriced soybeans from this year, you need to look out and see what is available on next year's and get an earlier start. Right now, as of the moment of this taping, November 2018 soybeans are priced at $8.39, and November of 2019 soybeans are priced right around $9.04. That's a 65-cent rally if you just sold them right now. Now, you may not be satisfied with that price of $9.05 at this moment, but where you're sitting on 1 year's crop and looking into next year's, taking advantage of that carry is going to be the way to go at some point. And for the last couple of years, getting an early start on soybeans hasn't necessarily been a farmer trend. This year, you probably want to change up things. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking Agview on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow Agview News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net. The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919, kfb.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leading in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online, kswheat.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future of Kansas corn. Online, kscorn.com.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm and Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm and Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil, and the decision continues improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel, made from U.S. soybean oil.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us online at kansasAgReport.net or on Facebook and Twitter. You can also find the Kansas Ag Report in podcast form at castbox.fm. Search Kansas Ag Report. Now be sure to set your clock back 1 hour tonight before you turn in, as daylight savings time ends early Sunday morning. Well, thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. We'll see you next week.